Hey, it's Quadix here. I'm here with the next part of What If Naruto Wasn't Dumb. Get this video to 600 likes and I'll upload the next part. Check out my other quality what ifs. The link to playlist of all the what ifs I've done will be in the description. Check out the community tab. I'll be using that for polls to select what videos I do and more. Please like, comment Q, or any other comments you may have. Make sure you're subscribed and let's get into this. Meanwhile, back in the village, the Sandaime was sitting in the meeting room with the Shinobi Council on one side and the Civilian Council on the other. The three elders, Homura, Koharu, and Danzo stood on his right side. A civilian spoke up. "Why have you called this meeting, Hokage-sama?" Hiruzen did not reply to this, eyes closed, an expression of deep thought. At last he spoke. "Do you all, especially the Civilian Council," he glared at the mentioned Civilian Council, "know why the Civilian Council was established by my sensei, Naidame-sama?" There was no answer from both sides, but the elders and Shikaku seemed to grasp the true purpose of the meeting from the question. Koharu moved forward. "Hokage-sama, you can't." She was silenced with a wave of killing intent. It made one thing very clear in everyone's heads. He is in a bad mood today. To assist the Shinobi Council in times of war. Last I checked, Konoha hasn't been at war for the last 15 years. Therefore, your entire existence is debunked. Outraged cries came from the Civilian Council, but killer intent from the Shinobi side for the interrupting the Hokage silenced them. The Hokage glared at them. "If anyone interrupts me one more time, I will have the person executed. Understood?" He enforced with that threat with killing intent. After seeing their urgent nods, he continued. The only reason, and I have checked the record thoroughly," he said, motioning to the big pile of paperwork beside him, "that the only reason they exist is because of political mongering and bribing some members of the Shinobi Council." His eyes swept the entire room, intensifying the tension. "My hands were tired after the Kaibi's attack and the Uchiha massacre. The Civilian Council took advantage of this and began to take charge of more important tasks by bribing the Shinobi side," he said while glaring at the two elders who didn't even look into his eyes, until they finally managed to get their hands on the Shinobi Academy, the most important stage of a Shinobi's career, changing the syllabus and actually lowering the standards of Shinobi. The council gradually became more corrupt. "Tell me if I'm wrong," he finished, practically glaring at everyone and daring them to disagree. Danzo grit his teeth. The Civilian Council was easily manipulated and as such was a form of power that he could control, not the Hokage. But it seems Sarutobi had finally enough of their bullshit and was going to dissolve the council. The worst, but all of this, he could not lift a finger to do anything about without resorting to Shisui's eyes, and he would rather die than attempting something that foolish. No one spoke in the council room, which was enough of an answer that the Hokage had hit the bullseye. "I will hold a vote now to dissolve the Civilian Council," he declared. A fat man stood up, face red and red to shout out the Hokage. He didn't even finish the first word that came out of his mouth before his head rolled on the ground. Courtesy of the Anbu. They cleaned up and vanished back into the shadows. Suddenly seeming to remember something, he turned to the elders. "Before I commence the vote, the elders will not be voting, seeing their position only allows them to advise and as such have no say in any final decision made by the Hokage." Koharu and Homaru had a defeated posture, heads down and shoulders sagged, an aura of dismay. Danzo simply stared ahead, not showing any emotion. Sarutobi had caught them totally unaware with this maneuver. I lost where I was. All against dissolving the Civilian Council On basis of the charges that I have read, the entire civilian side raised their hand, but they knew they were defeated. All in favor of dissolving the civilian council on basis of the charges I have read. I'm making sure I read it right. A tie-breaking vote was required for the Hokage, who said, "I'm in favor of the notion." Standing up, he declared, "The civilian council is dissolved as of today. I will appoint a shinobi committee to review all the corrupted laws they have passed related in favor of themselves. A separate division will be responsible for reviewing shinobi areas. The civilian council can leave now." All of them slowly got up, an air of defeat around them. They filed out of the chamber one by one. "The elders, please leave. I have something important to discuss with the shinobi clan heads." The elders couldn't protest against this as well. Clan business was serious, and no one, even the Hokage, was to interfere unless it concerned the integrity of the village. As soon as they left the room, Hiruzen snapped his finger. An Anbu appeared with a scroll held in his hand. He put it on the Hokage's desk and went back to his post. A signal from the Hokage caused all the Anbus to leave the room. Hiruzen opened it, revealing it to be a storage scroll. He slapped his hand on the scroll and in a puff of smoke, a bottle of sake and a number of cups as the shinobi council appeared. Hiruzen smirked. "Who wants drinks?" I'm curious as to what was happening. Chapter 10. Naruto had the others arranged into a formation. Sasuke and Sakura would guard Tazuna from the front, while he would protect from the rear. Sasuke had rudely questioned who had made him the leader. Naruto had coolly responded that if he had a better idea, then speak up. As Naruto suspected, Sasuke didn't exactly have a lot of bright ideas. With a glare hot enough to burn metal, he had growled at Naruto. "Just because I'm doing this doesn't mean you can order me around, dope. You will tell me everything about your sensing abilities." Naruto had sighed at that. It seems Sasuke's inferiority complex was acting up, probably because of what happened with Zabuza and the Demon Brothers. But maybe he was also pissed about seeing the Hunter Nin from before. Someone their age had already a part of the Hunter Nin program must set him off. They thankfully made it to Tazuna's house without any more attacks. They all saw it, the lakeside house. They all waited on the porch as Tazuna went and knocked on the front door. After a minute, the door swung open and a slim, pretty woman rushed out and embraced Tazuna. Naruto raised an eyebrow at her. Probably must be his daughter. "Tasan, I'm so glad you're safe," she spoke with obvious relief in her voice before she spotted the ninja behind him. She gave them a small bow. "I'm sorry. Where are my manners? I forgot how to say her name. Tsunami. I don't know. I can't believe. You know what? Yeah, tell me how to pronounce her name in the comment section. I just forgot, and I'm not gonna remember anytime soon. And I just lost. Okay. Okay. I'm to whatever. "Please come in. Is he hurt?" she asked, pointing towards the half-conscious Kakashi on the stretcher. Her eyes widened at the three identical blondes, but she was quick to recover. Naruto spoke up. "He's simply exhausted." No, it's fine. It's fine. "Is there a room where we can put him?" She smiled and moved aside from them to come. Sasuke and Sakura removed their shinobi sandals and went inside, while Naruto first removed Kakashi's sandals and then removed his shoes, going inside. The small gesture of caring brought an unseen smile onto Kakashi's face. Tsunami. You know what? It's fine. Answered, "I just need to put down a futon. I'm sorry, but I didn't get your names." Sakura smiled. "Haruno Sakura, Tsunami-san." It's not Tsunami water. Tsunami smiled tightly at her. Something about the girl just unsettled her. Sasuke was much ruder. "Uchiha Sasuke," He barely glanced at her, dismissing her as unimportant. Naruto threw him a dirty glare for that, which was wholeheartedly keep re- reciprocated. Naruto turned around and smiled. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, Tsunami-san. Nice to meet you. When you're nice to others, they are nice to you. This was demonstrated when Tsunami returned his easy grin and replied, Nice to meet you too, Naruto-kun. Follow me upstairs where you can lay your sensei down for rest. After the futon was laid down and Kakashi on it, Naruto just stared at the wall blankly, processing what happened to them so far. A hand on the shoulder snapped him out of the trance. He looked up to see Tsunami's face full of concern. It was a bit strange having someone look at him like that. It gave him a funny feeling in his stomach. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? Naruto took some time to respond. I'm okay. Standing up and putting a small smile on his face, he turned to her and asked, So, Tsunami-san, how about I help you cook dinner? Yeah, no, this is way too early to end it. It took 2 days for Kakashi to regain consciousness. Naruto dutifully changed his bandages, helped Tsunami cook dinner, and kept a watch on Kakashi while Sakura and Sasuke, well, they really didn't do anything significant. Sasuke trained, Sakura did too, but not as much. She only did a little before sitting on a rock and watching Sasuke with deep hearts in her eyes. What those two didn't know was that 20 of Naruto shadow clones divided in 2 groups were learning the 2 new jutsus Naruto brought with him, far deep into the forest. Naruto was in Kakashi's room, drawing up ideas for a new type of flash tags and explosive tags when he noticed Kakashi's breath hitch. Putting his sealing supplies aside, he walked over and knelt down, removing the wet cloth from Kakashi's forehead, something just in case Kakashi caught a fever. Sensei? He whispered. He saw Kakashi attempt to get up while keeping his eyes closed. He placed a firm hand on the man's shoulder, pushing the man back down. That would be unwise, considering it might set your recovery back. Kakashi opened his eyes with a pained groan, persisting even when the light seemed to burn through his eyes. After finally opening his eyes, he looked around and assessed that they had safely made it to Tazuna's house. He figured that his genin might have gotten pretty bored, especially Sasuke, if the occasional tremors indicated Sasuke's great fireball to burn off some steam. He looked to his side, seeing a mildly concerned Naruto looking down at him with his azure blues eyes. He was reminded of another blonde who used to give him the same look. He pushed that aside and smiled cheerily. Oh, hello, Naruto. A small smile came onto his face and he replied back, About time you woke up. I'll alert the others. He stood up and walked over to the window and saw what he had been seeing for the past 2 days. Sakura sitting on the ground and having heart eyes, and Sasuke blowing off trees. He decided to break their peace. Hey Sakura! Duck ass! He ignored Kakashi's snort at the nickname. Sensei's awake! With that, he went back to Kakashi's side, not even checking if they were coming or not. 2 minutes later, Sakura and Sasuke walked through the door, coming to stand in front of their sensei. Sakura sat down in a whirl of pink and red, exclaiming in relief, Sensei, you're awake! Naruto quietly scoffed and looked to the side. She was saying it as if she was the one looking after him for the past 2 days, skipping her training. Quick to claim others' credit, isn't she? Kurama's voice spoke, faintly lined with disgust. Naruto mentally lowers an eyebrow. Quite a long nap you took. Then he shrugged. Also, she's not taking credit. She's useless. She just wants to be seen doing something. I'm actually glad Sensei keeps his Sharingan covered. Otherwise, he would hate to accidentally copy her uselessness. Oh no, he said it. No. Oh no. Is this where the meme came from? This is old. The story's like... Hey, no, I'm checking how old the story is. If this story is older than the meme, I'm done. I might have found the story that the meme came from. No, this story is new. This is actually... Wow, this is in 2020. Wow. Like, all the other ones I do are like really old. July 8th, 2020. Oh, alright. I guess this was after the meme. He commented, prompting a snort of laughter from the fox. Kakashi decided to find out what he missed. So, what happens after I went down? Sakura spoke before Naruto could. Well, after you went down, we carried you to Tazuna's son's house. You've been out for 2 days, Kakashi sensei. We've just been training and guarding the house. Naruto wanted to say she has been only fangirling Sasuke, who was the only one who watched the house. He also wanted to say that he has been taking care of Kakashi the whole time, but he decided that it would look very petty on his part and opted to keep quiet. Also, what they didn't know wouldn't hurt them. He decided to speak up. Sensei, we're going to train to fight Zabuza again, he said with a serious look on his face. Sasuke turned to him, an eyebrow raised as if mocking him. Zabuza died when the hunter nin hit him with the senbon. Or did you forget that, dope? Sakura nodded as always in favor of Sasuke. Does she even think for herself, or does she just follow him? He mused. Naruto shook his head. I never forgot, Sasuke, but you probably have forgotten what we read about hunter nins in the academy. They're supposed to destroy the body on the spot, not take it away. Also, does Henbone hit a very specific spot on the back of the neck? He trailed off, opting for Kakashi to continue. Sakura scoffed. Please, Naruto. Sensei checked out, there was no pulse. I'm afraid that Naruto is right, Sakura. It was much possible that Zabuza is still alive, Kakashi grimly said. Sakura and Sasuke both had disbelieving expressions, letting Kakashi continue. The back of the neck where the senbon hit, I think that the nin most likely put Zabuza in a death-like state, which is most likely why I couldn't find a pulse, as it was so weak. He further explained, the weapon that the nin used has a low fatality rate unless it hits critical spot. The nin took Zabuza with him, even though Zabuza was much heavier than him. Also, he used the weapon with low fatality rate. With those 2 points, we can conclude that the nin wanted to help Zabuza. Tazuna looked skeptical. Is it possible that you are overthinking this? Kakashi swiftly replied, no. Once a ninja feels that there's something out of place, they must prepare for it before it's too late. Naruto folded his arms across his chest. So how long do you think we have, Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi rubbed his chin and thought, I'd say about a week. He'll need that much time to come back to full strength from the death-like state. That's what I'd need as well. Sakura gave him a look as he was crazy. Sensei, how are we supposed to train if you're to rest? Kakashi eye smiled. Don't worry, my cute little student. I don't need much to train you. A crutch is all I need. I don't know how I feel about what Kakashi just said. Kakashi eye smiled and asked her, hello, you might be Tsunami, because I don't know how to say her name. Tsunami smiled. Oh, so you finally woken up. Naruto-kun took good care of you then. He looked at Naruto at a faint blush on his cheek and was looking away, arms still crossed. Kakashi resisted the urge to ruffle his hair because the kid looked damn cute right now. Hold it, Kakashi, you can't just be doing that, man. Anyways, Tsunami, because I don't know how to say her name. I'm Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter. Pleased to meet you. She bowed. Kakashi bowed as much as he could while sitting. Pleased to meet you too, Tsunami-san. Tsunami turned to Naruto. Please help your sis sit down, Naruto-kun, and thank you for your shadow clones help in the kitchen. Naruto waved his hand. They're an excellent kitchen crew for me too. Don't mention it. With that, Sakura and Sasuke filed out of the room, not bothering to help Kakashi up. Naruto gave a disgusted shake of his head and stood up. Putting Kakashi's left arm over his shoulder, he helped him up, supporting his full weight like it was nothing. Arigato, Naruto, for taking care of me, Kakashi murmured, eyes smiling. It was quite weird for him. Only two cared for him like Naruto did in the last 2 days, and they were both Naruto's parents. Naruto shook his head, smiling. You're my sensei. I didn't do it because it was my duty to take care of you like you do. I did it because I wanted to. Kakashi's gaze at Naruto with a wide eye, who ignored it and slowly helped the man downstairs. Using what little strength he had, he pulled Naruto into a one-armed hug. Naruto initially stiffened, but relaxed after a few seconds. No words needed to be spoken. He helped Kakashi sit on the table and sat beside him, close in case he needed to feed him. But he hoped Kakashi had enough pride to not face fall during eating. The small gesture caused Tsunami to smile. Such a sweet boy. Kakashi couldn't stop the eye smile. He didn't show it, but he was glad there was someone like Naruto to care for him. Okami knows he has no one left to close him to him now. This feeling made him want to do everything not to disappoint Naruto. Naruto gazed at the small boy who was sitting beside Tazuna. Somehow he casted a somber atmosphere around him. Half of his face was hidden beneath his hat. Tazuna smiled and spoke up. Inari, greet these nice ninjas. They will make sure I'm safe while building my super bridge. Inari looked up and Naruto immediately understood why the boy felt so sad. He had that look in his eyes. He had lost someone very dear to him. But Gigi, they're all gonna die, he cried out as if he was stating a fact. Naruto suddenly understood the boy's position a whole lot better. So instead of being angry, he just felt a deep sense of empathy and sadness for such a young child hurting. Of course, Sasuke didn't take it too well. You don't know that, brat. His voice had a little bit of scorn added into along with his usual rudeness. Naruto had snapped and glared at him. Sasuke, he snapped. That was not how someone talks to a child, particularly a child who has eyes like that. Sasuke returned the glare, but he too turned his eyes away after a few seconds. He didn't speak after that. Dinner went quietly after that, though Naruto got a bit embarrassed when Tsunami thanked him again for his help for cleaning the dishes. They set up their beds in separate rooms. Naruto and Sasuke would take the room with Kakashi, while Sakura would share the room with Tsunami. As soon as he went into the bathroom and quickly made half a ram seal to dispel all the shadow clones. As the memories came into his mind, he stored it out through them and clicked his tongue in annoyance. The two jutsus needed a lot of work. The futon jutsu was a bit too complicated, so it would require time. He had to first gather air in his lungs, which was the easy part. The hard part was the shape manipulation. It was not easy to compress all of the air into an explosive ball of high density. He also had to be extremely cautious about it. If the ball exploded while inside him, game over. All of his clones practicing this jutsu were dispelled because of this. So Naruto had to discreetly create another batch and have them flash to other clones' locations. It was also taking him too long to do all of this. Well, I can personally work on it tomorrow, now that Kakashi sensei is awake, he thought. The Suton Jutsu was not as hard as Wind Jutsu, just tricky. He already knew how to expel water from his mouth, but making the jet of water highly pressurized so it could cut through stones was no piece of cake. Still, his clones managed to make it sharp enough to put a deep scratch on the barks, but not cut through it. But better than nothing. I have to master these jutsus before we confront Zabuza again, he thought resolutely. He walked out of the bathroom and laid down on his bed, closing his eyes and trying to work out theories to master the two jutsus faster. He found himself laying beside Kurama in their mindscape, and it looked like he wanted to talk. Okay guys, I will end it here. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next part. Bye.